The Pact. No one spoke. Ovlium stood at the edge of Valari Prime's docking bay, watching the strange purple sky stretch above him. It was his first time on this alien planet. He had come here as an engineer to fix communication towers for a trade company. The job was supposed to be quiet and simple. The place smelled different, like metal and sweet herbs. Tall silver buildings touched the clouds. Alien creatures walked around calmly. Liam, dressed in his Earth-made jacket, looked out of place. But he didn't mind. He liked being alone. As he walked toward the repair site, something moved fast, in his direction. A heavy cargo drone flying low lost control. People screamed and ran, but one figure froze in fear. A tall alien woman in a white robe. Liam didn't think. He rushed forward, tackled her, and both fell to the side just before the drone crashed into the ground. "You okay?" Liam asked, breathing hard. The woman stared at him. Her skin was a light blue, her eyes bright silver. She didn't answer, only nodded once. Guards came running. They looked at Liam, then at the woman. "Take him," one of them said. "What?" "I didn't do anything wrong," Liam protested, but they didn't listen. They pulled him away. The woman tried to speak, but another guard stepped in front of her. She looked troubled, maybe scared. They put Liam in a transport pod and flew him toward the palace in the city center. It looked like a crystal mountain rising from the ground. Liam had no idea what was going on. Inside the palace, they locked him in a golden room. He waited for hours, angry and confused. Finally, two tall alien figures entered, dressed in ceremonial armor. One of them held a glowing tablet. "Liam Carter, human of Earth," one of them said. "By our law, you are now bound by the life debt." "Pact. What the hell is that?" "You saved the royal daughter's life. By doing so, you have entered a marriage pact." Liam laughed. "This is a joke, right? You're serious?" "Yes. The pact is sacred. It cannot be broken. The wedding will happen in 7 cycles." "This is crazy," Liam said. "I don't even know her name. Her name is Princess Soraya, and she is very important." They left him alone again. Liam sat on the edge of the soft, strange-looking bed. What kind of planet was this? Was this a trap? Was he dreaming? A soft knock came from the door. It opened, and the same woman he had saved walked in. She wore a dark cloak now, her eyes lower than before. "You shouldn't have helped me," she said softly. "I didn't know saving someone's life would end in marriage." She gave a small, sad smile. "I didn't want this either. But the pact is ancient. Our people believe it brings balance to the stars." "You're a princess?" "Yes, but not by choice." Liam stood up. "Can we stop this?" "And no, unless you leave this planet forever and accept punishment. Or, unless I die." "Not funny," Liam said. "I don't want anyone to die. Then you will marry me, live here, be part of their game. They will use you to control others." "Why would they do that?" "Because humans are rising, your kind is strong, and they fear you." Liam looked at her carefully. She wasn't just scared for herself, she was scared for him too. "So what do we do?" She stepped closer. "We pretend to go along, but maybe we can find a way out together." Before he could answer, the door opened again. Guards stepped in. "Princess Soraya, your presence is required." She looked at Liam one last time, then walked away. As the door closed, Liam sat back down, feeling trapped in something far bigger than he could understand. That night, Liam couldn't sleep. Something wasn't right. Why did they care so much about this pact? Why did she say they would use him? He looked out of the window. The stars seemed closer here. One of them flashed. Maybe a ship in orbit, or maybe a warning. In the hallway outside, 2 guards talked in low voices. "Does he know?" one said. "No, he thinks it's about honor. But if he finds out what she really is..." They both laughed and walked away. Liam stood in silence behind the door, his mind racing. What did they mean? What was Soraya hiding? He was no hero, just a guy who fixed towers. But now, He was in the middle of an alien marriage, a royal family's secret, and maybe a galactic game he didn't understand. But one thing was clear. This was no accident, and whatever the truth was, he was going to find it. Royal Lies and Alien. Laws. The morning sky on Valari Prime was dark purple, as if it knew something terrible was about to happen. Liam stood on a balcony, locked in a palace made of glass and gold. Alien guards watched him from every corner. They didn't speak. They didn't blink. They just stood there, like statues, cold and ready. Last night's words still echoed in his head. You are now bound by the life debt pact. The wedding will happen in 7 cycles. It made no sense. Save someone's life, and you're forced to marry them? Liam had grown up on Earth where logic mattered. Contracts, consent, freedom. But here everything was ruled by strange ancient traditions. He thought about Soraya, the alien princess. The way she looked at him, not with love, but with warning. They will use you too. But why? And how? A soft chime came from the wall. The door slid open. An older alien entered, tall, silver-skinned, dressed in dark royal robes. He looked powerful. Behind him, 2 guards followed. I am Lord Vekar, the man said calmly. Head of the High Court, I am here to explain your duties. Liam didn't answer. He didn't want polite lies. You are confused, Vekar continued. But this is a great honor. In saving the princess, you have become a symbol, a bridge between your kind and ours. I didn't ask for that, Liam said. Symbols do not ask, Vekar replied. They are chosen by fate. Liam stepped forward. What if I refuse? The guards moved, weapons ready. Vekar raised his hand. You can refuse, yes, but the penalty is simple. Exile. Your body will be returned to Earth, in parts. Liam froze. He understood now. This wasn't a story about love or respect. It was about control. He was a piece on someone's chessboard. Why her? Liam asked. Why Princess Soraya? What is she really? Vekar smiled slightly. You are smart. Good. You'll need that. But some questions should not be asked. Yet. Then he turned to leave. Prepare yourself. You meet the Empress tonight. That evening, the grand hall shined with lights. Glowing orbs floated in the air. Alien nobles stood in silence as the Empress entered. Tall, beautiful, and cold as ice. Liam stood beside Soraya. She looked perfect in her royal dress, but her eyes were hollow. Not sad. Empty, like someone who had accepted a prison too big to fight. The Empress raised her hand. You have touched the royal bloodline. Now, you will carry its weight. Liam spoke clearly. I didn't choose this. The stars chose, she replied, and we follow. Soraya stepped forward, her voice low. Mother, let him go. The Empress didn't blink. You forget who you are. Soraya's hands trembled. Liam noticed it. He gently reached out, touching her hand. Not as a lover, but as someone trying to say, I see you. The crowd gasped. Vekar smiled from the shadows. Later that night, Soraya came to Liam's room in secret. Her cloak was soaked from the mist outside. They will punish me for speaking today, she whispered. Why do you stay? Quiet? Liam asked. Why not fight? She sat on the edge of the bed. Because I was made to obey. Not born, made. Liam stared. What do you mean? Soraya looked into his eyes. I am not just a princess, I am a creation, engineered for diplomacy, designed to carry peace in my veins. My body holds genetic codes from 4 empires. If I die, their alliance dies too. Liam stepped back. You're not real. I am real, she said, a tear slipping down her cheek. But I am not free. He felt cold all over. She wasn't just royal, she was a living treaty. So marrying you isn't about honor, Liam said. It's about control. They want to tie Earth into their web. Yes, she whispered, And you are the last piece. They both sat, in silence. Why tell me this? Liam asked. Because you are human, she said. And humans still fight back. Later that night, Liam moved through the palace halls quietly. He had memorized the guards' patrols. He needed to find a way out, or at least, find answers. He reached a sealed door with a warning sign in alien script. He hacked the console, basic stuff, and stepped inside. What he saw froze his blood. Rows of tanks. Inside them floated other versions of Soraya. Not exact copies, but similar faces. Some younger, some older, all floating in green liquid, asleep, or dead. A log screen showed notes in multiple languages. Version 2.3 unstable. Version 3.0 neutralized. Version 4.1 assigned to mission. They had made her. Many times. Liam stepped back, heart racing. A whisper came from behind. You weren't supposed to see this. Liam turned. A guard with a plasma blade. Liam raised his hands. Wait, I'm not. But the guard didn't strike. Instead, he turned off his blade and removed his helmet. It was another alien. Young with sharp eyes. My name is Galactic, he said. I'm part of the inside. There are others who want to end this. We've been waiting for a chance. Why me? Liam asked. Galactic's voice was low. Because you're not from here. You don't follow their lies. And because Soraya, she believes in you. The past. She hides the sun never truly rose on Valari Prime. The sky glowed in soft purple light, but the shadows never faded. Liam felt the same darkness growing inside him. After what he saw in the lab, the tanks, the clones, the truth about Soraya, nothing felt real anymore. She wasn't just a princess. She was a project, a weapon, a product of royal science. Yet when she looked at him, she felt real. He sat on the cold floor of his room, head down, heart racing. Galactic's words from the night before echoed in his ears. She believes in you. But why him? What could he do? The door opened slowly. This time, there was no guard, only Soraya. She stepped inside, wearing no crown, no robe. Just a dark travel cloak. Her hair was messy. Her eyes looked tired. I know what you saw, she said. Liam stood up slowly. Then you know I have questions. She nodded. Ask. He didn't hold back. How many versions of you were there? 37, she said quietly. I am the last one. The only one who lived past age 20. Liam stared. They made you to be perfect? No. They made me to be acceptable to all 4 empires. My blood has genes from each one. It makes me useful. It makes me neutral. And what happens if you die? Then the peace dies too. War starts again. Planets burn. Liam shook his head. How can they do this to someone? Soraya smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. They don't see me as someone, only as something. She walked to the window, looked out. I was trained, since I could speak, how to smile, how to obey, how to speak the languages of 4 species, how to cry, even when I didn't feel it. Liam watched her. For the first time, he didn't see a royal or a clone. He saw a person trapped in a life she didn't choose. You ever wanted to run away? He asked. Every day, she whispered, but I can't. If I leave, billions might die. Liam came closer. What if we find a way out? One that doesn't kill anyone? Soraya turned to him. Her eyes were wet. You still don't understand. They built a lock inside me. A what? A failsafe. If I break the pact, if I try to escape, something in my blood triggers. A signal, it activates a weapon hidden on a moon near the treaty planets. Liam's heart dropped. A weapon? Yes. It will destroy the capital cities of all 4 empires. They made sure I can't run. And now, you're tied to me. Hours later, Galactic met them in a hidden tunnel below the palace. Old, dusty, long forgotten. It was used by servants during ancient wars. Now it would be their secret meeting place. We have a plan, Galactic said. But it's dangerous. He pulled up a hollow map. We need to reach the high genetics chamber. That's where they programmed the lock in her blood. If we can erase it, she's free. What's the catch? Liam asked. Kellic looked at Soraya. The system is alive. Not just code. It's aware. Aware? Liam frowned. More like a mind made from memories of the dead clones. It protects her, and it fears change. Liam looked at Soraya. Can you face it? Soraya's voice was calm. I have to. The next night, the three of them moved through the tunnel into the lower levels of the palace. Alarms were silent. No footsteps. Only the sound of machines humming deep in the walls. They reached the genetics chamber. A door scanned Soraya's face, then opened. Inside, soft lights blinked. Giant cables pulsed with energy. And in the center, a glowing core. Soraya stepped forward. The moment she touched the core, the room changed. Lights dimmed. Cold wind blew, though there was no airflow. Whispers filled the chamber, not from mouths but from the walls. Liam couldn't understand the words, but Soraya did. Her body went stiff. Her eyes closed. She whispered, "They're speaking to me." Galactic pulled Liam back. "Don't interrupt. This part is hers alone." Inside her mind, Soraya saw herself, but not just one version. Dozens, all staring back, some smiling, some crying, some broken. You are the last. We died for peace. Will you throw it away? He is human. He will run. He will leave you. You are not real. You are not worthy. Soraya screamed, falling to her knees. Liam ran to her. Soraya, fight it. She opened her eyes. Tears fell. I'm not like them, she whispered. I'm not perfect. I feel fear. I feel pain. The core pulsed harder. Walls cracked. Liam touched her shoulder. You feel. That makes you real. The moment he said it, everything stopped. The whispers vanished. The lights returned. The core turned dark. A new message appeared on the screen. Lock removed. Soraya fainted in Liam's arms. They brought her back to the room through the tunnel. Guards didn't know. Cameras didn't see. Soraya slept quietly. Her face was peaceful for the first time. Liam sat beside her. Galactic stood near the door. We did it, Galactic said. Not yet, Liam replied. They'll come looking. Galactic nodded. Then we prepare. When they strike, we strike back. Liam looked at Soraya. For the first time she was free. But freedom would come with a price. The human who said no. For the first time since he arrived on Valari Prime, Liam didn't feel like a prisoner. He felt like a threat. Soraya's genetic lock was gone. The ancient system that had tied her to destruction, disabled. No alarms. No explosions. Just silence. And silence meant danger. Liam knew the Empire would notice. They always noticed. He stood by the window of the hidden chamber Galactic had given them. Below, the alien city moved slowly. Ships flew in patterns, lights blinked in rhythm, all controlled by unseen laws. Laws he had just broken. Behind him, Soraya slept. Peaceful. Free. But for how long? Galactic entered with urgency. They're scanning the palace systems. They know something changed. Liam nodded. How long do we have? Maybe a day. 2, if we're lucky. Then we move now. Galactic raised an eyebrow. Move where? The truth needs to get out. To everyone, on this planet and beyond, Galactic sighed. And how do you plan to do that? Liam turned toward him. You have rebels, right? Use them. We need access to the Royal Data Core, the one connected to the interplanetary broadcast system. Galactic stared at him for a long moment. You're serious, he said. Liam didn't blink. They think I'm just some outsider who'll follow. They're rules. They don't know what happens when a human says no. Hours later, Liam, Soraya, and Galactic moved through another tunnel. This one older, tighter, used only during wartime centuries ago. Thick roots had broken through the walls. As they walked, Galactic explained the plan. The royal data core sits in the central spire. It's guarded day and night. The only time security weakens is during the moon blessing. When all leaders go to the Great Dome for ritual. When's the next blessing? Liam asked. Tonight. Soraya looked up. That's no coincidence. It means they planned something. Maybe for me. Liam gritted his teeth. Then we go tonight. We finish this. The sun dipped behind the mountains. Purple twilight fell across Valari Prime. In the distance, drums echoed from the Great Dome. The moon blessing had begun. In the royal spire, only 10 guards remained. For a building that usually had 50, it was nearly empty. Liam wore a cloak stolen from a servant. Galactic had deactivated the cameras. Soraya moved silently beside them, her face hidden. They entered the spire through a forgotten door in the kitchen, level, past rooms full of floating crystals and humming consoles. They reached the main data chamber. Liam stepped toward the console. The core glowed blue. He attached a small device he had built earlier, designed to record and transmit data across public frequencies. Once this goes live, Galactic said, there's no going back. We already passed that line, Liam replied. He activated the device. Images flashed on the screen. Clone labs, forced pacts, secret genetic files. And then Soraya's face, as a child, being trained, corrected, programmed. She turned, away ashamed. They need to see it, Liam said softly. The broadcast signal pulsed. It was now active, across all nearby systems. Even passing ships would pick it up. But then, the alarm screamed. They know, Galactic said. Guards stormed in from all sides. Liam reached for a stun device. Galactic fired first. Flashes of light exploded around them. Get to the roof, Galactic shouted. Liam grabbed Soraya's hand and ran. They reached the top of the spire. Wind howled. Lights from the palace lit the sky. A transport ship appeared. Rebel crew inside. But behind them, a loud voice shouted, "Stop!" It was the Empress. She stood on a platform rising from the tower below, eyes glowing with fury. You broke the Pact. You ruined everything. Soraya stepped forward. You ruined everything. Not me. The Empress raised a weapon. I gave you life. You gave me chains, Soraya whispered. The Empress aimed at her. Liam jumped between them. A shot, fired, but not from the Empress, from Galactic. The Empress dropped, stunned. Move, Galactic shouted. They jumped into the ship. The pilot hit the engines. The spire disappeared behind them. Back at the rebel base in the mountain zone, the mood was tense. They had done it. The galaxy now knew the truth. But the Empire wasn't going to stay quiet. A new message came through on the base screen. From a secret channel. Liam watched as a high official from one of the treaty empires appeared. We have seen the footage, and we are ashamed. Valari Prime no longer speaks for us. Other messages followed, 3 more, all cutting ties with the royal family. Liam turned to Soraya. You're free now. But she didn't smile. Freedom is not the end, she said. It's the start of a war. Later that night, Liam stood outside under the stars. Earth was somewhere far behind him. He missed its oceans, its smells, its chaos. But he didn't regret coming here. Soraya walked beside him. Quiet. You didn't have to stay, she said. I did, he replied. Not because of duty, because of choice. She looked at him. Then you're the only one who ever chose me. He nodded. And I won't be the last. He broke their sacred code. The stars above Valari Prime burned quietly, but below, the world was changing. In the palace, silence turned to whispers. The broadcast had shattered illusions. Noble families were panicking. Alliances were breaking. The royal court, once feared across systems, now stood on shaky ground. Liam had done the unthinkable. He had told the truth. He had broken their sacred code. And truth in the Empire was more dangerous than war. Inside the rebel base, news feeds flooded the screens. Each one carried a message. Earthborn outsider exposes royal lies. Genetic bride was never free. Treaty, built on blood and silence, now questioned by the galaxy. Liam stared at the headlines. He didn't feel proud. He felt hunted. Galactic entered, throwing down a data pad. They issued a bounty, he said, on you and her. How much? Liam asked. Enough to buy a planet. Liam smirked. Guess they're taking us seriously now? Soraya didn't smile. We need to disappear. Galactic shook his head. No, not this time. This time, we fight. Liam raised an eyebrow. How? Galactic tapped the pad. There's a final ceremony. They moved the royal wedding up. 2 days from now, under the eyes of the council. They want to show they're still in control. They're still going to try and marry her, Liam asked. Soraya nodded. Even if it's not to you, they'll name a new hero. Someone loyal. The ceremony is about power, not love. Liam's jaw clenched. Then we end it. Publicly. Galactic leaned in. You want to interrupt a royal ceremony? With cameras watching across the stars? Exactly, Liam said. They built this empire on false stories. It's time they choke on the truth. 2 days later, the city was locked down. Drones scanned every alley. Guards wore war armor. The Great Dome, where the final ceremony was to be held, had never been so heavily protected. But they had a plan. A simple one. Create chaos. Show the truth. And survive. Liam and Galactic moved in through the underground utility lines. Rebels had cut the surveillance feeds. The goal? Get Liam inside, near the main podium, where the royal marriage would be broadcast to millions. Soraya was already inside as a guest, still pretending to be part of the court. She wore the ceremonial dress again, the same one from the first time they announced her engagement. She hated it. It reminded her of a life not hers. Her heart raced as the music began. Nobles filled the seats. Lights hovered in the air like slow-moving stars. The new chosen groom walked proudly, a royal general, loyal to the crown. His eyes were cold, his hands covered in medals. He stepped beside her, whispering, "After this, you'll be useful again." Soraya didn't respond. She was waiting for the signal. Beneath the dome, Liam moved through the shadows. He reached the support room behind the main stage. The data uplink glowed above him. Just like before, he inserted a device. But this time, it wasn't just recordings. It was live. On stage, the Empress raised her hands. "Today," she said, "we restore balance. We show that our Pact still lives, that our unity is stronger than any lie." Liam's voice suddenly echoed across the dome. "Except the biggest lie is standing right in front of you." The Empress turned. Gasps filled the air. Liam walked onto the stage. Soraya smiled softly. He made it. Guards raised weapons. "Wait," the Empress said. Liam didn't stop. "I was chosen by your so-called ancient laws," he said loudly. "Not because of honor. Not because of peace, but because your system needed a puppet," the crowd murmured. Cameras zoomed in. "She was never free." Liam pointed at Soraya. "She was grown in a lab, trained to obey, used to hold your fragile empire. Together." The Empress's face turned cold. Liam pointed to the screen behind them. It lit up, showing images from the clone lab, the tanks, the dead copies, the memory core. "This is your truth," he shouted, "and the galaxy deserves to see it." Then came the real shock. Soraya stepped forward. "Everything he says is true," she said loud and clear, "and I will no longer be your symbol." Gasps became shouts. The Empress lost control. "Arrest them!" Guards moved, but then explosions rocked the side walls. Rebels had entered. Galactic led the charge. The Great Dome became chaos. Liam grabbed Soraya's hand. "Time to leave." They ran as smoke filled the room. Shots fired. Drones sparked and crashed. Outside, rebel ships waited. Liam, Soraya, and Calic boarded the main craft as the city fell behind them. Hours later, aboard the rebel cruiser orbiting Valari Prime, Liam watched the galaxy's response. 4 Empire leaders spoke live. We recognize the crimes committed on Valari Prime. The Royal House has lost all political power. We offer full protection to Soraya of No Empire. We welcome humans as equals, not pawns. Liam looked at Soraya. She was silent. How do you feel? He asked. Empty, she said, but also alive. He took her hand. You broke the code, she said. You changed everything. Liam shook his head. No, we did. But in the shadows of the dying empire, a new voice began to rise. A secret council, hidden from all broadcasts. A remnant of the old guard. Watching, planning, and waiting. War among stars. 3 days after the fall of Valari Prime, peace did not come. Instead, the galaxy shook. Half of the Empire's loyalists fled into hiding. Others refused to accept what Liam and Soraya had revealed. Systems split in 2. Some declared freedom. Others cried for vengeance. And from the shadows, something worse rose again. The Remnant. A secret faction from the old royal command. Powerful generals, hidden ships, stolen tech. And one mission: restore the rule of the Pact by force. Liam stood in the command room of the rebel flagship Arclight, now orbiting the edge of neutral space. Ships from multiple species floated nearby. A fleet built from former enemies, now united by one truth: they had all been used. He looked at the hologram floating before him. A war map, blinking red. They're building something, Calic said, pointing at a location near the Forbidden Nebula. A massive power signature. Maybe a station. Maybe a weapon. Who's leading them? Liam asked. Calic hesitated. Vakar. Liam felt a chill. He survived? Yes. And he wants her back. Soraya sat alone in the observation bay, staring at the stars. Her reflection looked tired. Her face no longer belonged to a royal. Not a symbol, just someone trying to be real. Liam entered quietly. They're coming, he said. They always do, she replied. You don't have to go with us this time. She turned to him. Yes, I do. Why? Because they're not after you. Or your truth. They're after me. The last version, the one they couldn't break. She stood. And if I run again, they win. The next day, the rebel fleet jumped to the edge of the Forbidden Nebula, a violent storm of dark gas and broken planets. Inside it, hidden by energy fields, they founded a fortress, not just a ship, a floating city armed with plasma cannons, shield nets, and something deeper, something alive. That's no ordinary station, Calic whispered. Liam narrowed his eyes. What is it? A memory core, Soraya answered. They're using old genetic data, maybe even the failed versions, to build something like me. Like you? Liam asked. A weapon that thinks and remembers pain. The rebels formed a strike plan. Soraya would lead a stealth team into the fortress to find and destroy the core. Liam would lead the outer fleet to draw fire. If anything goes wrong, Soraya said, don't come after me. Liam grabbed her hand. That's not how we work. Her eyes softened. This isn't about you saving me. It's about me saving myself. He nodded slowly. Then let's end it, he said. The battle began in silence. Then, chaos. The rebel fleet attacked with full force, missiles lighting up the nebula. The fortress responded with dark beams that tore through ships like glass. Smaller fighters swirled around like angry insects. Inside, the fortress. Soraya moved fast, leading a team of elite rebels through the lower corridors. Alarms screamed, doors slammed. But they kept going. They reached the heart of the station, and what they saw froze them all. In a glass chamber, suspended, in liquid was a living copy of her, a clone, not dead. Not asleep. Awake. Eyes open. Staring. And behind her, Vakar. You came back, he said, stepping forward. How poetic. Soraya stepped ahead. End this now. Destroy the core. Stop the war. Vakar shook his head. No. This time, the weapon chooses obedience. She won't fail like you. He pointed to the clone. This one already agrees to the pact. Soraya's voice cracked. She doesn't know what it means. She doesn't need to. She's perfect. Vakar raised a weapon, but he didn't see Galactic behind him. A single shot. Vakar dropped. Soraya ran to the chamber. The clone inside looked like her, but not fully. Younger, colder, lost. Can she be saved? One of the rebels asked. Soraya placed a hand on the glass. Not if we let them finish this. She pulled out a device, small, silver. This will destroy the memory core. The data, the designs, all of it. No one can make another. Liam's voice came through the comms. We're losing ships. Shields failing. You have 60 seconds. Soraya looked at the clone one last time. I'm sorry, she whispered. Then she pressed the button. The chamber glowed bright. The memory core cracked. The fortress began to collapse. Outside, the rebel fleet watched as the fortress exploded in fire and light. Then, silence again. But this silence was different. This was freedom. Hours later, back on the Arclight, survivors gathered in the command room. Liam sat beside Soraya, both bruised, bloodied, but alive. A new broadcast began. This time from them. Liam stood before the camera. We didn't fight for power or territory. We fought to end a lie. Now, it's time to build something better. Not with fear, not with control, but with choice. Soraya stepped beside him. I am not a princess, not a code, not a treaty. I am me, and I finally know who that is. Across the stars, people listened. Some cried, some cheered, and some began to hope. She chose humanity. The war was over. The empire was gone. The clones were no more. The royal bloodlines dissolved. Peace had no crown now, only choices. And the stars, once ruled by cold codes and genetic pacts, finally felt open again. But peace had its own weight, and the question everyone asked now was the one Soraya feared the most. What happens next? Liam walked through the rebel city on Nova Station, now the political heart of the new Interspecies Alliance. Leaders from dozens of planets met in the Great Hall, debating laws, drawing maps. But he wasn't interested in maps anymore. He wanted her. Soraya had been quiet since the mission, not distant, just uncertain. And he understood why. For the first time in her life, she could choose. And choosing meant risking everything. They met again at the outer observatory, the place where she used to stare at the stars. Only now, she didn't look up. She looked at Earth, a blue dot, glowing faint in the distance. Liam stood beside her. You ever going to stop thinking and just speak? He asked with a soft smile. She didn't smile back. They want me to lead, she said. Who? The new Unity Council. They want a face that people trust, a symbol. Liam raised an eyebrow. You were never just a symbol. She turned to him. But they think I am. He stayed quiet for a moment. What do you want? He asked gently. Her voice was almost a whisper. I don't know. The next day, the Alliance held a victory gathering, live across galaxies. Leaders spoke of peace. Galactic stood tall, now commander of the United Fleets. Children waved flags. Even former enemies stood side by side. Liam was asked to speak. He kept it short. We didn't win by building walls, we won by tearing them down. The crowd clapped, but Soraya wasn't there. Later that night, a message came through the emergency channel. One word. Return. Coordinates led to a destroyed sector, long thought dead, once used by the Empire for secret testing. The Arclight launched immediately. Liam, Galactic, and a small team on board. Soraya joined them without a word. Inside the ruins, they found it. A ship, dark and silent, floating near a broken moon. Not just any ship. A royal genetics vessel. It shouldn't have existed. It's sending no signal, Galactic said. But it's alive. They boarded carefully. Inside, the walls pulsed. Machines whispered. And in the center, a tube glowed. Liam stepped forward. It can't be, he muttered. Inside the tube, a living being. Young. Female. Not Soraya. Not fully. But close. Another clone. Barely formed. Weak. But alive. A screen blinked. Project 38. Emergency backup. Loyalty mode. Galactic cursed. They had a hidden copy. Liam looked at Soraya. Her face was unreadable. What do we do? He asked her. She stepped forward, pressed a hand to the glass. She doesn't deserve this, she said. Liam nodded. But if we destroy her, we become them, she finished. Silence filled the room. Soraya turned. Help me disconnect the tank, we're taking her out, Galactic protested. What if she's programmed to fight you, to replace you? Soraya's voice was firm. Then we teach her something better. They brought the clone, barely alive, back to Nova Station, placed in medical care. Doctors would monitor her growth, not as a weapon, not as a tool, as a child. And for the first time, Soraya saw her not as a threat, but as a beginning. Days passed, and then it was time. Liam stood at the docks. The ship to Earth waited. Small, fast, quiet. He looked back. Soraya walked toward him, not in royal dress, just herself. They offered me leadership again, she said. And? He asked. I said no. His eyes widened slightly. You sure? Yes. I'm not here to rule. He stepped closer. Then what are you here for? She smiled. To live. A pause. Then she added, if there's still space on your ship. Liam grinned. We've got the last 2 seats. As the ship left Nova Station, the stars stretched around them like rivers of light. Earth grew larger ahead. A new world. A free world. Soraya sat beside Liam. Silent. Peaceful. No crown. No chains. Just her. Far behind them, in the quiet halls of Nova Station. The young clone opened her eyes for the first time. She didn't speak. But the first thing she saw was a sky.